Okay. All right. Well, thanks for joining us. This is our Monday night Ready, Set, Glam call. And this is April something, 9th maybe. So I'm really excited to have all of you on with us. I'm Betsy Bishop and I live in Virginia. And I'll be sharing with you, hopefully, some ideas about ways of framing how you start your new touchstone crystal business. Because how you start sort of sets the platform for how you're going to proceed, and we want to make sure that you get the basics really well lined up in your head, that you don't rely on what seems like intuition and common sense, that you take a couple of basic strategies to heart and really apply them diligently, because they will make all the difference in your business. Now, a lot of people will say to me, oh, but Betsy, I just really want to be a hobbyist. I just want to come in and do one party every now and again and have a little bit of fun. I don't have all these big goals like all these other people. First of all, you could change your mind. And I'm just saying, because there are a lot of people who come into this thing and go, oh, I'm just in it for a little bit of fun jewelry. And next thing I know, they're a senior director. They didn't see it coming either, and that's okay. But the reality is, if you want to keep it as a hobby for the next 10 years, let's do that. But I want it to be a fun hobby. I want you to be productive. I want you to know how to do this really well. And so that's why what I'm going to share with you becomes super critical. Because if we can teach you how to do this really well in the beginning, you can just do one party every now and again if that's what you really want, and make that one party every now and again fantastic. So that's a big goal for us. So let me start sharing my screen. We're going to go into the back office, which is called Glam Central. And let's see here. All right, so I'm already in here, and what I'm going to do is, so this is what our back office looks like. For those of you who are visiting and our guests, this is what you would get. And it would have your name, not mine, on there. And this is not the part that your friends see. This is the part that you see after you've logged in. So this is sort of like, where all the magic happens. But we have a little section here called resources, and I'm going to go to a section called training. And under training, you can see, for example, there are getting started videos, party power tools, a lot of things like that on all these different topics. We have a lot of videos available. Glam Central, a lot of videos under Glam Central, things like setting up a party, adding guests to a party, using host connection, entering party orders, entering a host order. All these things are in here. We've got party presentation, lots of ways of learning about how we do our parties, how we get bookings, booking basics, the BFF program, host coaching, sponsoring, marketing your business. There's some really good things in here, how you share some of these things, like the technology behind marketing, some of what we have available to us. And then also this part here about the company and our product. A lot of really good little videos in here that will help you to learn about what we have to offer. And then little known tips about Swarovski. I wish my computer was going faster. And then some details about the jewelry. In your kit, you'll be getting the jewelry guide that is that's created for every new catalog, so everybody gets that. But there are all these little things, little tidbits. So even if you're with the company, you're a little bit new, I encourage you to spend a little time on training. But this part here, leadership, is where I'm running to here, because I'm going to pull up something under New Consultant Success. When you become a group leader with 3 people on your team, you have access to something called New Consultant Success. And this is where I find the Ready, Set, Glam slides. So what I wanted to do is to show you that these are tools that the company has given us. And even when you're in leadership, the company still has the tools that they want us to use, so that we're not having to reinvent the wheel all the time, because that's never a good thing, right? We don't need to reinvent the wheel. We want to be out doing parties and having a good time. So here we go. So we're going to talk about the Glam Plan, essentially. And the Glam Plan is our, let me go back to something. I don't want to pull away from it. So the Glam Plan is basically a series of carrots and incentives that the company offers to us, and it's for the first 3 months in business. Now, you don't need to use this to direct and create your goals, but if you came in without any real goals except to sort of have fun and see what happens, a lot of people say that to me, I just want to see what happens. Well, I'd love to have you see what happens if you actually try to actually just work the Glam plan. So what I'm going to do is show you how the Glam plan works, but I want you to understand the end result is when you achieve all the markers in the 3 months of the Glam plan, you're going to have a $2,700 or more profit and $2,000 worth of new jewelry. Not only that, when you bring friends with you, bling buddies, sparkle sisters with you into the company on your team, each one who becomes a Glam ambassador by selling $1,000 basically gives you another $500 in free jewelry. So there are people who are coming in right now who are attracting 2, 3, 4 new people in their first couple months of business, and they're getting $500 in jewelry credit for each one on top of that $2,000 from all their sales. So let me dive back here in the beginning, but I wanted to show you essentially where we're going. All right. So we have a 5-step Glam plan, and in the first month in business, you can earn almost $1,000 in jewelry. You can earn $1,000 in jewelry, and you can earn up to $1,000 in income. So level 1 of the Glam plan says that when I sell $1,000 in my first full month in business, I become a Glam ambassador, and that gives me $250 in jewelry, the Glam tote bag, and can you see this little thing that says 70% discount? Honestly, it needs to be in neon flashing huge letters across the screen here, because that's actually the thing that should be screaming at us. That 70% discount is on everything in the whole catalog. So if your goal here is to have as much jewelry as possible, that's the thing that will make you drool the most. It's not the $250 in free jewelry, it's the 70% off. Now, just as a little parenthesis, there is a $3,000 retail limit on your 70% off, and there are people who strategize on exactly that, and they max it out as fast as they can. So I'm not saying that anybody has to do anything like that. It's not. I don't advise that you spend every penny that you make, but you have the option to do that. But in the meantime, you do earn $250 in free jewelry by selling your first $1,000 in your first full month. Now so if people say, well, so my first full month must just be my first 30 days or the end of the month I started. Actually, it's a whole lot more generous than that. Swarovski and Touchstone are very generous in the things that they do. So the first full month in business is the remainder of the month you started and the entire next month. So let's pretend you started today, April 9th. You would have till the end of April and all of May as your first full month. I'm not kidding. And no, I didn't make a mistake. It really is true. You'd have till the end of May as your first full month in business. So let's say you sold $2,000 between now and the end of May through 2 parties. You'd get $500 or $600 in income, and you would earn another $250 in free jewelry. So now you're up to $500 in jewels. Okay, so why the 25 or 30%? Okay, the 25% is for everybody right out of the gate. The 30% is for anybody, whether you have a team or not, who sells $1,800 or more in a single month. So that's the first pay raise that you get to make for yourself. You get to give yourself a raise if you want one. I mean, everybody wants a 5% raise. That doesn't happen very often today. But the way to do it is to make sure you sell at least $1,800 each month, because the company will turn around and give you 30% commission instead of 25. Okay, level 3 is still in your first full month. When you sell $3,000 through at least 4 parties, you're going to make $750 to $900, and you're going to get another $500 in jewelry for a total of $1,000 in jewelry. Plus, now you're getting another bag, the Glam carry-all bag, which is great for carrying your displays and things like that, all your jewelry in there. Okay, there's another level, and this takes place during your second full month. If you started in April, your second full month would be the month of June. Let's say you sell $6,000 by the end of June, between now and the end of June. You're going to receive another $500 in jewelry. And you'll have made that much more money, right? Level 5 has to do with your final month, and that would be July. So by the end of July, if you started today and you sell $9,000, you would be earning 30%, which is $2,700 in income and another $500 in free jewelry. Now, I don't know about you, but I could think of a lot of things that I could spend $2,700 on. I'm sure you could think of a few things as well. And that's just for essentially what we figured out in doing the math is that comes down to about one party a week. That's it. If any of us went out and got another job, maybe we get a job at the Hallmark store, a part-time something or other, we get a job at working at Kohl's, doing things like that in the evening because we want to pick up a little extra cash, we would end up working 2 or 3 nights a week. In this case, you could work 1 night a week on average and sell $9,000 within your first full month, or your three full months in business, and probably make around $2,700 somewhere in there. But on top of that, we talked about all that extra free jewelry. So here's what happens. You get all this jewelry, but at the same time, as you're adding people to your team, you start earning extra income. So it's the second way of giving yourself a raise. When you bring on your first Bling Buddy or Sparkle Sister, you will earn 3% on everything she sells. She might be somebody who goes crazy and sells $10,000, and you'll be really happy that she's on your team. When you add your second person to your team, your second Bling Buddy, you'll start earning 4% on both of them, and that's a whole lot of fun. What this chart doesn't show you is that when you add a third person to your team, you can reach group leader, which changes your income completely. Instead of earning 25 or 30%, you can start earning 40% on your retail sales. And instead of 3 or 4% on your team members, you'll earn 9% on there. So 40% and 9% when you find 3 people on your team. There are a couple other little caveats, and we can explain all that to you. As you start adding them, we can show you how that works. But this is the Glam plan right here. So it becomes a little bit of a roadmap if you don't already have one. Okay, choose your business plan. Totally up to you. I mean, we've got people earning $1,000 a month. We do have people earning $2,500, $5,000, over $10,000 a month. My paycheck last month was $16,000, and I know, I heard that, and I'm not anything unusual. And quite honestly, somebody said, "Oh, yeah, but you started all those years ago." To tell you the truth, most of the growth in my income has come in the last 24 months. And it's not that I wasn't making money before that, but I wasn't earning that kind of income. And it continues to go up. But a lot of people who go to senior director, we've had a lot of people go to senior director, which is one of the top 2 levels in the company, earning over $10,000 a month in 15, 16 months with the company. They're just simply diligent. They do 1 or 2 parties a week, and they focus on bringing people onto their teams, and we help them to make the most of that, of the time that they're spending with it. The really neat thing is that everybody starts at exactly the same place. Whether you want to be a hobbyist or you want to go all the way to senior director, it is literally the exact same building blocks. You build your contact list. You figure out when you want to do your parties. Super important is calendar control, because you want to be duplicatable and not be available every single day of the week for people who want to do a party with you. You want to show people that you play when you play and you work when you work. And that's really important, because again, we're all about the flexibility and the freedom of this business, so that we're not feeling like we have no choice but to do parties whenever somebody wants one. You can add in your team trainings if your area has team trainings. And then you put in when you really want to do parties. In my opinion, this is way too many things circled in green. I would have fewer, and I would focus a little bit more on the dates that I absolutely really want to fill, because I'm more likely to do that than if I have a whole lot of things circled, unless I want that many parties, which I personally would not want to do that many parties. I don't know about you, but I don't want to do that many parties. So here's what you do. You select and you call your first 4 hosts. So how do you do that? Well, I honestly think that it's a very simple process. You're going to create circles of friends on a piece of paper. And it could look like this kind of thing. So it might be that you're a part of the PTO. So that's one circle. You have a book club. That's a circle. Maybe you're in a synagogue or a church and you've got those friends. There's a circle. Maybe you also go to a gym and you work out with key people. So there's a circle. If you have kids and you know some of those moms, that's a circle. Your old neighborhood, that's a circle. Your current neighborhood, that's a circle. People you only know from Facebook, there's a circle, but actually they're all sort of their own individuals because they don't really know each other. People in your family, there's a circle. So these are the kinds of circles that you're going to be creating. Within each circle, you want to figure out who are your one or two top most likely suspects. And maybe you identify them in different kinds of ways. It might be who loves jewelry or who loves fashion. It might be who's that natural born entertainer who's always having everybody over. Within each circle, it might be who always does the parties. Who has the biggest social circle? Who just renovated their kitchen and would like to show it off? Who just retired and would like a chance to have to do a party. So there are a lot of reasons that women will want to do parties and reasons that you want to put them on your list. So this is a very specific and simple way of figuring out how to discern who to ask first. Okay, so what do you say? Well, the first thing is don't ask for a favor. Super important because it's really all about them. Now, so think about it. If I go to them and I say, oh, Susan, I just started my new company, or I started my new business with this company called Touchstone Crystal by Swarovski. It's really great, but I've got to get 4 parties on the calendar to get all these incentives, and I'm really stressed about it. Would you be willing to do one of my first parties to help me out? As opposed to, hey, Susan, I'm so excited. I just started with Swarovski's Touchstone Crystal Jewelry line. Hosts get tons of free jewelry and a lot of fun with their friends. I'd love for you to be one of the first ones to help me introduce the line. Sandal Sangria and Swarovski is a really fun theme. What do you think? So that sounds like a whole lot more fun. And I probably wouldn't call and say these things. I would be texting these things. Or emailing it or Facebook Messenger. You have to kind of do it where they live, like figure out where does this person spend the most time, what would they actually see most easily. And so that's how you're going to be reaching out to these people. One of the key things to keep in mind, a lot of people say to me, I don't think I can do what you do because I don't want to burn out my friends. The number one way to avoid burning out your friends is to do parties with acquaintances. And so I want you to feel, I wish I could get if I could step into your brain and pour into it a sense of confidence that it's okay to offer a party to someone that you don't know all that well. Here's why you really want to consider doing this, especially if she's a likely suspect, like she's always doing the parties and you see her from a distance. You don't know her very well, but she seems so friendly and always has a lot of friends. She will not do a party as a favor for you if she doesn't know you all that well. It's usually your best friends that are like, oh, poor girl, I need to do her a favor because I'm her bestie. No, the acquaintances don't see it that way. If they're going to do a party for you and with you, it's because of what they can get. Second thing, even more importantly, is that when they do a party, everyone that they invite, well, I say everybody, most of the people they invite, you won't know. And that's really important. And that's how you get outside of your circle of friends. So when somebody says to me, oh, I've been at this for a couple months now, and it's just not really working for me. And I'll say, well, why is that? She'll say, I can't seem to get outside of my circle. All my friends have already seen it and nobody else wants to book a party. So I've already burned out my friends. And it's because we haven't gone to that next layer of acquaintances and screwed up the courage to offer a party to those people, because that's really where your success is going to come from, is doing parties with people that you've never met before. And you get to them through your acquaintances. So there are lots of words. The Ready, Set, Glam guide that comes in your kit offers some words to say in person, things that you could actually email to people or text. And you'll want to switch out the verbiage a little bit, but the key is to keep it really short and simple. something that she can read really quickly at the stoplight, because that's basically where everything gets read these days, on the fly, in the middle of the soccer practice, before the meeting starts, while you're in the checkout line at the grocery store. That's where we read everything. And so it's got to be really short. It's got to be fun. And it has to provoke a fun set of pictures in her brain so that she will feel really good about saying yes to doing a party with you. So those are some of the things to think about. You know, a lot of people say to me, oh, I can't seem to book a party. You know, I don't know what's wrong with me. And I'm just really discouraged. And so, of course, I'll start asking a few questions. But, you know, there are 4 things that get in our way with booking parties. There are 4 key things. The first one is, am I offering it to enough people? Did I really create those circles of friends on paper and figure out who from each circle that I could actually go to and offer a party to? The second is, what am I saying? Am I actually providing a great message that somebody would really want to read and be intrigued by? Or am I Debbie Downer and, you know, sounding insecure, or I'm kind of sucking the fun out of it all? The third is, when I do get a reply back, do I know what to say in response? You know, a lot of times people will say to me, and this just happened to me today. I sent something to this gal who I really think wants a party. She did a Touchstone party like 7 years ago with a rep who nobody knows who it is. It was somebody, I guess, who was a rep, you know, back then and then quit. But Michelle, her name is Michelle, and Michelle is a realtor, and she did a couple of parties with this person, and the person quit the company, and she'd never seen a rep since then. Well, I know she wants a party, so I reached out to her. I said, hey, it's double host dollars a month. You want to pick a date? She said, actually, I'm leaving on vacation, and then when I get back, I have surgery, so I'm going to be out of commission for about a month. So what do you say to that, right? And a lot of people will say that that's a no. Oh, everybody says no to me. That's a no. That's not a no. That's a no, not right now. So I got back to her, and I said, I really hope your vacation is great fun, and I'm sorry to hear about your surgery. How about if I check in with you in about a month to see how you're doing? And that's what I'm going to do. So I'm putting her on my list for about a month from now on my calendar to check in with, see how she's feeling, and see if she wants to. And the point I made was, let's face it, you deserve to have something fun. After you recover, you're going to want to have something fun to look forward to. So that whole thing was not a no. It was a no, not right now. And then the last thing is the repetition angle. So that's the fourth thing, is the repetition. How many times can I send the same message to the same person and not feel silly? In my opinion, you can send it at least twice. If you didn't hear from her. So now this gal, Michelle, I had texted her and I didn't hear back from her last week. And this morning I sent her an email with exactly the same message instead of a text. And that's how I heard back from her. I know she read my text message, but I promise you, she got it while she was in a meeting or in the middle of something else and didn't have the bandwidth. Sending it a second time will get you a much greater percentage of response, and it really is okay to do that. So I want to give you the confidence to make that happen. So we have lots of training opportunities. We do monthly trainings as a company, and as a team, we do weekly trainings, Glam Central training. As I showed you some of that back in there under training opportunities. I showed you some of those things. Under downloads also, we have, maybe 100 photos, more than that we can use on social media. And I download them to my phone, and then I port them over onto my laptop. So I always have these things to post on Instagram. As Lee was saying, she's putting things up now on social media, and it's making a difference. And then, of course, Glam Jam is coming up, and so we're so excited about that. July 26th to 28th up in Providence, Rhode Island. It is an absolute blast. We have the most wonderful time together. And it gives you a real vision of what Swarovski's plans are for Touchstone Crystal, because you're going to see the Swarovski presence there in a very big way. They will a lot of times bring, like the Swarovski crystal curtain from the Oscars, and a lot of really neat trinkets. We've seen so many things from the Swarovski archives at our events. And then, of course, you get to see all the new jewelry as well. for the fall line and kick off the new incentive programs and the new incentive trip, wherever that's going to be. But the thing I want you to know is that the expert at anything was once a beginner. And every single senior director that we have in our company was once she once did her very first party. And she once got her very first starter kit with 8 pieces in it. And everybody starts exactly the same way. The ground is level in this company. And it's funny, a lot of people say to me, oh, I don't have any direct sales experience, so I could never do this. More than half of our senior directors in our company had no direct sales experience. None. And honestly, in some ways it's easier that way, because then it's all about the new. You have a blank slate. We can teach you the touch-tone crystal way. So